that straight into ministry, and everybody just applauds it. And that was actually really hard because I'm getting applause when everybody knows how much I'm traveling, but nobody's asking me about my wife. Nobody's asking me about my kids. They're just want the anointing or whatever the language is of the culture that you're a part of. And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? And he comes up and he goes, hey, I bet you're thinking one of two things. One is give up your calling so that you can go focus on your family. Or the other is give up your family so that you can focus on what God's called you to do. He said, neither is right. A real man learns how to live in the tension of both and do them well and honor God.
But then it becomes all-consuming, because I had to apologize for that. So that it becomes all-consuming because you can always give what seems like a legitimate reason for what you're doing and why you're doing it, because you're doing it in the name of God.
Yeah.
And I think that was a massive piece for what we experienced when we first went through what we went through. We'd go backstage into the green room and people would be like, hey, Jake, it's so good to have you guys. So glad your family's here. Awesome. How are you guys doing? And we're like, man, it is terrible. Our marriage is falling apart. We're not even sure we like each other. It's kind of crazy right now, but we're really glad to be here. And people were like, at first, they're like, we might have made a mistake, and we thought that's what they were thinking. But what really came out of it was every place we went, without fail, they would go, hey, can we talk to you afterwards? We're kind of going through the same thing. And we were like, oh, this isn't an us problem.
Right.
This is a cultural, systemic problem when it comes to how ministry is functioning and the silence of the struggles of the families. And because we have such a sort of a fundamental deconstruction of family and culture, the closest thing they can find is either they're going to find a pastor or they're going to find somebody in government, and they're going to be like, I'm going to throw all that weight on them, and hopefully it works out.
The author of Hebrews says in chapter 12 that God shakes things to reveal things.
Yes.
And so when people, like marriages, are in crisis and they're able to find their way through with the Lord, then the new ministry door is open for so many other people who are not the Lone Ranger. You're not the Lone Ranger.
As you know, if you can connect with the man's heart, get the man connected to the family, that changes the marriage, that changes the parenting, that changes the environment of the home, and actually transfers into legacy in the home. We have a deeper connection, so there's a greater degree of safety in the relationship to navigate those with more honesty and vulnerability.
So does that mean you're now even freer to ministry?
Yeah.
Freer to do ministry because you're doing it the right way?
It's not even yeah, I mean, maybe it's the right way, but I guess the way I feel is like, it's our way. And I just hope others have enough freedom and honesty and vulnerability and willing to walk through the pain of their circumstances to find their way as well, you know?
Oh, the word, you used a great word. You used the word freedom.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big word in culture in American society. But the first use of the word freedom is actually by God. From every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you don't eat it unless you die. So freedom was, in God's use of the word, the liberty to enjoy his goodness within the restriction that he gave.
That's it.
And marriage creates a restriction that if you ignore it, you can't enjoy all the other fruits that are there to be enjoyed within the context.
Her expression of limitation and boundaries and hurt gave me limitations, exactly like you're saying, but they didn't limit me from being me. They took away the versions of me and my ego that had nothing to do with God, and helped hone me and harness me into the man that I was always meant to be in alignment with her. So I become more of the man I was created to be, and she becomes more of the woman she was created to be by us creating these boundaries, by creating this space to go, hey, when you do that, it hurts me. Well, that's not just simply me telling you a part of my story. That's me expressing that part of you probably hurts other people as well, and it's probably doing damage to you. At the end of the day, you have Jesus, who essentially for all express and purposes, is crucified by his bride. He says, forgive her, because he knows that when he dies for the sake of his bride, even unjustly, whatever it is, for the sake of his bride coming into her fullness, the husband gets everything he wanted in the first place. If this doesn't have to be right or wrong, I'm choosing to die, not for me anymore, but for the sake of you becoming who you were meant to be. Because as you become that and have more of an expression of the authentic version that Christ ordained from you before you were ever born, I end up with everything I ever desired anyway, regardless of how far it takes me or how much it costs me.
So your process really exemplified Ephesians 5,
That's it.
where the husband is dying, love like Christ loved the church. He
And
loved
gave
it to
himself.
death.
That's it. My word of challenge to men every single time is I say, men, you have to go first. And we've made in culture, men have gone first in systems and structures. But in the kingdom, men go first in service and sacrifice. Get to know her. That is step one. If you do this in your marriage, it will transform the safety and vulnerability of your wife, which will transform the connection that you have with her, the intimacy you have with her, the language you guys share, and the life that you're building.